Hello, you beautiful people, and today we're going to be doing some formatting tricks, which include the table concept, using the format painter, and some other things. So, first of all, let's look at the data block we have here. You can see it gives a list of employees, the names of some employees, the salary, division, rating, and age. So this is probably being used maybe in the HR department of a certain company. Okay, now, first of all, how do we, if before taking a printout, for example, I want to add a space before every name like this, I want it to have this sort of presentation. Although it would be ridiculously long if I started adding a space before every name. So I want to show you a formatting technique that can help us have this kind of presentation with a space before the name. So I'm going to select all the names in this um, array, in this range of data, and I'm going to apply the comma style formatting technique. So under the home tab, come over under the number section and apply the comma style. And when you apply this comma style, you notice it gives us the exact kind of result we like. And it's also great because it doesn't actually change the value of the cell, meaning that the actual value of the cell does not have a space in front. And this is very useful when you're doing VLOOKUP because okay, let me illustrate what I mean. So here I have up there with no space in front, and I have space up there, and I'm going to do a quick test just to see if these two cells have the same value. So I'm going to apply a formula which we'll come back to in the future, so don't really bother about this. So I'm going to see, is this cell equal to this cell? If J5 is equal to K5, if J5 is equal to K5, return same. If not, return not the same. Okay, and as you can see, it returned not the same because upper and space upper are not the same thing. So when you're when we're doing VLOOKUP in the future, it's very important that you enter the same kind of data. And you see, if I remove the space and I come out, you can see it goes back to the same. Now, what I mean by comma style doesn't change the value is, let's say I come back to this cell and I apply the comma style here, right? And even though it looks as if there's a space, our formula still says same. So that's what I mean. It doesn't change the value of all these cells. Okay. Now, another if you apply comma style to numbers, this is how it's going to come out. So I've applied it to the salary values here, and I'm going to apply the comma style. And you can see it has, I think this is where it gets its name from. It has applied the comma and the 2 zeros for the two decimal places. So that's great. Now I'm going to show you how to apply the table format technique. Now we're going to select this whole data block. Remember the shortcut for selecting data block, Control A. Now this whole data block is selected. Now let me if you go under the insert tab, you see table, not pivot table, table. Okay, I press OK, and you can see it has created a table. Now this table allows for some quick functions, like under name you can sort it, under salary you can sort salary. We'll come back to this in the future, but I just want to show you this format. You can see table, and if you click on the table, you notice a table tools design ribbon heading pops up here. And if you click on this, it allows you to quickly format or make some changes to the table. You can change the color of the table over here depending on what you like. You can do some other things. You can summarize with a pivot table. You can remove duplicates. We'll also come back to this in the future. But if I want to convert it back to normal, like before I apply the table, I'll come to convert to range. Do you want to convert to normal range? Yes. Okay. Now we're back to normal range. The only difference is that the color still remains. So let me change. Let me remove the color. So I'm going to select the data block, and I'm going to fill it. No fill. Remove the filling. So we're back. For the next format tricks, let's move on to sheet 2. Control page down. Okay. Now, to start with, let me show you the format painter. Let me show you how the format painter works. Now, it kind of works like the F4 function I talked about in the first lesson. So if you come under, if I click on this cell, I can use it, I can apply its format to another cell. If I press the format painter here, you can see it allows me. So if I click on this cell now, it's going to use the format of this cell on this cell. But by clicking it once, it only allows me to apply it for one. It only allows one use of that format painter. Let me show you again. If I click it again, I can apply it here. Right. So now, what if I want to use that format repeatedly on many cells? What I would do is I would double click on the format painter like this. So I double clicked on it, and now I can apply it several times. Then if I want to put it off, I just come back here and click, and that's that. Now, let me show you the shortcut for format cells. We talked about it in the first lesson. It is Control 1, and the format cells dialog box comes up where you can apply different formats without having to come over to the home tab. Okay. Now, I'm going to show you some custom formatting techniques, just a few. There's several, but I'll just show you this few. Now, how do I hide a cell? Sometimes you may wish not to show a cell for some reasons. Now, if you look at this cell appears to be blank, this one here, but if we look into it or press F2, you notice there's actually a value there. You just can't see it from outside unless you double click. Now, how I want to apply that format here. After I've selected the cell, let me bring up the format dialog box, Control 1, and I come over to custom, and oops, let me go back. I come over to custom, and under type here, I remove this text, and I'm going to insert these 3 semicolons right here. So 1, 2, 3, and you notice it has disappeared unless I double click on it. The value is still there, it's just not showing. Okay, now let's move on to the next custom format. Now this format is talking about self-adjusting dots. So if I want there to be a dot to the end of a certain cell, this is how I would do it. Let's say I have um uh, I have ABC, and I want to apply self-adjusting dots to these cells. I can highlight them, go to control, go to bring up the format cell dialog box, control 1, come over to custom, remove the text here, and enter at this asterisk and a dot and the dot, and here we have self-adjusting dot. So even if I change the text here, let's say I change it to I don't know, Indomie. I change this to, no matter the length of the text, it will always self-adjust to the end of the cell. Even if I extend the width of the column, it will always self-adjust. I can even apply this. I can apply this to other cells and see it works. Yeah, so that's that. Now the last custom format I will show you is if you want to add like a suffix to a number value. What I mean is let's say if I want to say, for instance, let me put in some figures: 23, 6, and but I'm maybe count what I'm counting is actually kg. The unit is kg, and I want kg to appear. If I just go into the cell and add kg at the back of this, right? If I want to add this alt equals 2 for the sum, it's not going to work because Excel does not recognize this as a value. It just, what it sees is that I just entered text. The same way you can't add text, it's not going to accept it as a value. So how do we make Excel accept a suffix attached to a number as a value? What we're going to do is, let me remove the kg, and let me highlight the cells, bring up the dialog box, come over to custom, oops, come over to custom, and I will go to, I can pick either of this, either this 0 or 0.00, and at the back of the 0.00, give a space, then enter hash and 2 quotation marks. And within these quotation marks, I can now enter whichever suffix I like. So let me enter kg. And you can see what happens is that it has attached the kg suffix to the back of the figures. And if I add it, the sum works. The sum works, but I just need to, maybe I need to add this format to this. So let me use the format painter. And I will add that format to the sum. Yeah, and you can see how that works. So those are just a few formatting tricks. We will continue some other formatting tricks in our next lesson. Thank you very much for listening. Again, I'll appreciate your feedback. Let me know how well I did, and please practice. Make sure you're able to do all these exercises. Thank you.